Welcome to my channel Safety Net. Today our topic is hard work safety.
All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're breaking down how to outsmart one of the absolute most devastating hazards in any professional environment, and really how you can step up to become the active architect of your workplace's safety. When we think of workplace hazards, we usually picture, missing hard hats or maybe bad ergonomic chairs. But today, we're tackling a threat that can cause catastrophic damage, literally reducing a business to ashes in a matter of minutes.
So I've got a crucial question for you to help us understand this uninvited, highly destructive coworker. What takes exactly 3 things to destroy a workplace? Think about it for a second. It doesn't need some complex chain of events, and it doesn't need a massive structural failure. It just needs 3 specific ingredients to align perfectly in your office, factory, or construction site.
The answer, of course, is a fire. But here's the empowering part, the real takeaway. You hold the power to stop it. Fire safety isn't just about waiting for an alarm to ring or, crossing your fingers and hoping the sprinkler system works. You are the absolute first line of defense against this threat. What you do every single day matters immensely.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll be covering the anatomy of a fire, common workplace hazards, decoding fire classes, strategies for prevention, and finally, emergency response and evacuation. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, Anatomy of a Fire.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how simple the science of a fire actually is. It all boils down to what we call the fire triangle. For a roaring blaze to ignite and keep going, it relies on just 3 things: heat, fuel, and oxygen. Oxygen is, well, constantly in the air around us. Heat can be a stray spark or just friction. And fuel? That's anything from a stack of printer paper to a massive tank of diesel. But here is your ultimate secret weapon. Remove just one of those 3 slices and the entire triangle instantly collapses. Take away the heat or starve it of fuel and the fire simply ceases to exist. It's a total game changer when you think about it like that.
Moving right along to Section 2, Common Workplace Hazards.
Let's look at the heat slice of our triangle for a moment. 2 primary culprits usually emerge at work: hot work and electrical faults. We're talking about welding sparks flying around, overloaded circuits, or, honestly, just a frayed wire on an old piece of equipment. These are the literal sparks of disaster. When you combine unmaintained equipment with flammable materials, you are basically handing the fire its ignition source on a silver platter.
And this brings us to a huge point. The stark difference between playing active defense and pretty much rolling out the red carpet for a disaster. Good housekeeping isn't just about making the boss happy because the space looks neat. It's quite literally about survival. Clean spaces and organized storage keep you safe. On the flip side, poor housekeeping, like leaving oil spills uncleaned or scattered cardboard everywhere, is just leaving fuel lying around, just waiting for a spark. Proper storage of flammables isn't just some boring policy. It's a non-negotiable shield.
All right, let's hit Section 3, Decoding Fire Classes.
Knowing your enemy means recognizing that fires actually take on very different, highly specific forms depending on exactly what's burning. And the crucial point here is knowing exactly which weapon to pull for which fight, because, and I can't stress this enough, not all fires are created equal. Water works wonders on Class A fires, your everyday combustibles like wood or paper. But try throwing water on a Class B flammable liquid fire or a Class C gas fire, no way, you will explosively spread the danger. For those, you need foam, CO2, or dry powder. Combustible metals, those are Class D. They require their own special powders. And crucially, if you use water on an electrical fire, you've just created a deadly conductor and risk severe shock. You absolutely must use CO2 or dry chemicals for those.
Which brings us nicely to Section 4, Strategies for Prevention.
So how do we make absolutely sure that fire triangle never even forms in the first place? Well, it starts with rapid fire prevention habits. Make it a routine to inspect your electrical cables. Yes, even those dusty ones hiding under your desk. Ensure flammable chemicals are stored far away from heat with proper ventilation. It also means strictly enforcing designated smoking areas, because a stray cigarette in your flammables is literally a disaster waiting to happen. And of course, rely on early detection like smoke and heat alarms. If a hazard does spark, you want to know about it way before you actually smell the smoke.
Now, for high-risk tasks, you just can't rely on guesswork. You need a formal process, which brings us to the hot work permit system. Before any welding or grinding happens, this permit heavily tightens control over the environment. It makes it mandatory to remove combustibles, keep an extinguisher within arm's reach, and assign a fire watch, basically someone whose entire job is to just stare down stray sparks. This level of vigilance is exactly what stops a tiny ember from turning into a massive inferno. Let's look at our final section, emergency response and evacuation.
Okay, so what happens when prevention fails and you're face to face with the fire? Well, if it's small, manageable, and you actually have the right extinguisher, you need to rely on muscle memory, the PASS technique. In those critical first few seconds, you cannot panic. Just remember, P, pull the safety pin. A, aim at the base of the fire. Target the fuel, not the flashy flames above it. S, squeeze the handle. And S, sweep from side to side until it is completely out cold. Memorizing this right now prevents fumbling later when literally every second counts.
However, actually scratch that. Importantly, if the fire cannot be quickly controlled, your immediate priority shifts entirely from fighting to fleeing. You must follow evacuation steps without panic. First, raise the alarm immediately and inform emergency services. Stop your work safely. Evacuate calmly using designated emergency exits. And never, ever use the elevators because the power can fail and trap you inside. Finally, move directly to your designated assembly point so a full head count can be taken.
This brings us to a fundamental truth of workplace safety. While safety officers have vital roles, like conducting risk assessments, inspecting extinguishers, and running drills, the ultimate success of the whole shebang relies on every single person in the building staying alert. Fire drills aren't just a fun excuse to take a 15-minute break outside. They are absolutely critical for reducing panic, spotting weaknesses in the plan, and building a true culture of safety.
Remember, every single day you walk onto the site or into the office, you hold the power to prevent tragedy and keep your coworkers safe. Never block an emergency exit. Handle chemicals with care. Report hazards the very second you see them. A small mistake really can cause a major disaster, but proactive prevention saves lives. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to step up, break that fire triangle, and truly be the active architect of your workplace's safety?